My name is Erica Jones, and this is my interpersonal communications project. My project title is Communication is Key. Slide 2. My overarching goal is to be able to communicate effectively and empathetically and genuinely with each person I come in contact with. I want to communicate the way that Jesus would want me to with all of the fruits of the Spirit. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. That's Galatians 5:22-23. From how to solve the people puzzle, I realized after taking the DISC test that I am a high I, which is active, people-oriented. And that means that my qualities are inspiring, influential, persuasive, impressive, interactive, and interested in people, which I do find these things to be true. And the results show that a high I is motivated by recognition from others, and that I need prestige, friendly relationships, opportunities to influence others, opportunities to inspire people, and a chance to verbalize ideas in my own environment. I respond to leadership who is democratic, gives social involvement outside of work, gives recognition of abilities, and offers incentives for taking risks. Things that need to be learned are that time needs to be managed. It is possible to be too optimistic, and details are important, and that to be humble is a virtue. And that is slide 5. Now, slide 6. Behavioral blend of I/D, which is D was my second highest score in the DISC test. And so there's both positive and negative qualities to being I/D behavioral blend. And the first positive quality is that this type of blend can tend to be very impressionable and sticks out in a crowd. But a negative side to that is that can sometimes be a little proud or egotistical. So a guideline to avoid the negative quality is that a person of this blend needs humility. Another positive quality is that an I/D person has confidence in leadership and thinks that they're unbeatable. A negative side to this is that they can be too hard on people, and a guideline for this is to monitor confidence and influence. A third positive quality is that an I/D person can be a good follower if that's what is expected of them, because they like to live up to expectations. And a negative side to this is that this person is not always content being a follower, and they may strive to be a leader. And then a guideline for this is to be more humble and mindful of leaders. And a fourth positive quality is responds well to those who listen to their ideas. And a negative side to this is may easily respond with anger. And a warning or guideline to this is guard feelings and words. Another positive quality is manages conflict strongly and convincingly. And a negative side to this is they can tend to be not a good listener or compromiser. And a guideline for this is that this type of personality blend, they need to be accountable to others who are considerate enough to confront them on an issue. Slide 7. Now, with this personality blend, unfortunately, there are overuses and abuses that can happen. And sometimes I/D personality blends, they think people expect them to be more passionate than the average person when pursuing dreams. They can often overuse authority and the trust that people have in them. People can feed their expectations by obeying their commands without realizing it. They can think that people expect them to be infallible. be inconsiderate of people's feelings and not care about the consequences of taking advantage of another's weakness. And finally, often thinks that their personality blend is the best one. So these are some pretty serious abuses with the ID personality blend, but how I am going to deal with these abuses is that I will try to be genuine and passionate about others, and I will be respectful and mindful of each leader that is above me. And I want to be fair and to have fair expectations of others when I'm a leader. And I want to accept the fact that all people fail, but still strive for success. So even though I may fail, I know that I can still strive for success. And I will always try to be genuine and mindful of others and their weaknesses. And I will try to be humble and remind myself that God has created every individual person differently. Some potential barriers for listening and communicating are some physical barriers, which are fatigue. And so it can be difficult for any person to pay attention when they're tired. And that I struggle with this. Sometimes when I'm tired, I don't feel like listening to people. But I know that to deal with this, I need to internally summarize and visualize what the person is saying to me, and connecting what is being said with something that has previously been stated. Another barrier that is potential is a semantic barrier. The meanings are in people, not words. So this means making judgments solely on what someone says. And how to deal with this is summarizing what I believe the talker said may help me more have a clear understanding instead of just assuming. Slide 10. Now, this is potential barriers with noise pollution. Some listening barriers are bad listening habits, which I definitely have, which sometimes I struggle with being the faker, pretending to listen but actually thinking about other things that are in my mind. How to deal with this is that I can listen genuinely and intentionally and digest what is being said. Sometimes I struggle also with being an interrupter, being too focused on what I want to say and thinking it is more important than what the other person I am talking to is saying. And how to deal with this is that I need to be patient and considerate and listen to the person. Now, these are all examples of eternal noise pollution. Things that are going inside of my head distracting me from listening. Slide 11. External noise pollution is maybe somebody is talking too quietly, or the talker's actions and how they look is distracting them. Loud noises, traffic, machinery in the background. Room temperature being too hot or too cold. Poor acoustics in the room making it hard to hear. View of the outside, the scenery, too distracting. Concentrating on the time. And phone calls, incoming text messages. Maybe the talker is too hard to understand. And maybe you feel pressed for time. Or pressure from other things in life, like you're thinking about your job and stress there, and it's distract you from listening to the person you're talking to. Those are all examples of external noise pollution. Noise pollution is anything that distracts you externally or internally from listening to a person, things that you allow to happen. Here's some example of an external noise pollution. Good evening, honey. How are you?
My friend, how are you?
Yeah, I just thought I would come and check on you today. You seemed a little bit frazzled when I spoke to you last.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'm very sad. Today, my sister, I was to get her from dance, from ballet dance. I was to go and pick her from there. But, you know, I just forgot. I just forgot everything. I just forgot the time. And मेरे पास मेरा सेल फोन भी नहीं था, and you know I couldn't call her, and my sister waited, and so
Okay.
she's angry, very very angry at me. So I don't know. I said sorry कितनी बार कहा, लेकिन वो नहीं मानी, and so I'm just sad, you know.
Well, at least he said sorry. Well, yeah, sorry to hear that. Yeah, your sister. Well, I hope you have a good night. I'm sorry that happened.
Okay.
That was one example of external noise pollution. And see, I was not wanting to listen to my friend Honey because I could not understand her. She said some of her words were in her language, Urdu, and I was not able to understand what she was saying about her situation, but yet I just pretended to listen when I could have asked her to clarify what she was saying in English. So that is one solution that would solve that noise pollution. Slide 12. Some other solutions to noise pollution. If someone is speaking too quiet, ask them to speak up. Look at a person's face, not at their appearance or what they're fidgeting with. If there are loud noises, ask the person if they would like to relocate with you so that you could concentrate on what they are saying. If the room temperature is either too hot or too cold and it's distracting you, ask them if they would like to relocate. Or if the view outside is too distracting, move to a different position so that you cannot see the distraction. If people are texting you, I would turn off my phone or turn it on silent and not look at it. If I had trouble understanding what someone was saying, I would ask the person to repeat themselves again, just like I had to do with my friend Honey. Make a change. I know that in order to achieve my overarching goal, I need to make some changes in the way that I communicate. I know that these changes will help me enlarge my conversation in such a way that I will be the kind of person in whose presence good things happen. One change that I'm going to work on making is how I use my dialogue. In this kind of communication or sharing, such a shift comes about often enough when one of the two people asks a clarifying question. The person says something and we might ask, well, how did that come about? They tell us, and from that another series of questions arises. We might follow up with, how are your family affected by that? Sometimes this going to a deeper level continues for some time because what is being spoken about requires additional clarifying statements. Listening also goes beyond skill. Empathy. I'm going to make my best effort to listen with grace and listen into people's experiences. Genuineness. I'm going to be real, overcome my need to impress, not exaggerate. Warmth. I'm going to be kind, even when I feel like someone I am communicating with is not. Therapeutic. I'm going to try my best to be a person who people feel at ease to talk to. I want to be a mindful listener. Mindful listening is already a part of you. However, it does require a desire to listen. A desire to listen involves a curiosity for new information and a willingness to pay more respect to your speaker. That is a quote from Stewart, and this is slide 16. Slide 17. Finally, I want to pray. I want to pray more for the people I communicate with and for myself, that I will continually strive to have all of the fruits of the Spirit. And that is my presentation. And slide 18 is the references. Thank you.